A weed is a native or exotic plant growing in an area where you don't want it. In New South Wales, we have weeds of national significance, agricultural weeds and environmental weeds. Under the Biosecurity Act, it's a plant that has an environmental, economic or social effect on our community. The invasion curve is there to provide education on the infestation levels. At the left-hand bottom end of it, a weed species comes into the environment and we need to eradicate it. It's usually small numbers, it could be just 1 or 2 plants. If we're able to jump on those now, the cost of controlling is quite small. As we go up the invasion curve, we then come into the eradication side, looking at weeds that are still in quite small numbers and the same area that takes very little control costs. As we travel up the invasion curve again, we come into the containment area. These weeds have established, they're still restricted to scattered in those localities. You would be trying to contain those plants so they don't spread to other areas. But as we go up to the top end of the invasion curve, this is where most of our widespread weeds sit, like serrated tussock, African lovegrass, St John's wort, blackberry. They are widespread across the council and in adjoining councils and within New South Wales. They're not going to be eradicated, but we need to minimise its impacts and protect priority assets. In New South Wales, I use a system to set priorities on weeds. It's called New South Wales Weed Risk Management System. As part of that process, if we discover a new plant, it'll go through the Weed Risk Assessment, or the WRM. We use the New South Wales Weed Risk Assessment to calculate the feasibility of coordinated control. And this includes control costs, persistence and current distribution, and to calculate the risk based on the weed's invasiveness, impacts and potential distribution. There is a weed risk matrix where we combine the risk and the feasibility of control, and it comes out with a recommended management option. So if it's a plant that has limited distribution, known to be weedy and impact on a certain industry, then it may come out as looking at eradication. But as those weeds become more widespread, then the management options change and it'll come out to get down to that protecting priority assets. Some weeds will come out as a low risk but a higher cost of control. Those weeds would be a lower priority. It works really well at the state level, the regional level and at the locality suburb level. We are currently looking at improving the system so we can use it at the property level.